my song.
All of Jessica Leia's music that you hear on Me and My Song is available for purchase online. And now, please enjoy the show.
As usual, I was, trying to figure out what the is going on in this planet. And during this one particular stage of trying to figure out what the is going on this planet, I came across this really fantastic essay. And I read it.
Oh.
And that's why this month's song, The Ultimate Invasion, was ever even born. The essay was titled Decolonizing the Revolutionary Imagination, Value Crisis, the Politics of Reality, and why there's going to be a common sense revolution in this generation. Wait for it. Wait for it. Just wait for it. The essay of which I speak was written by Patrick Rainsborough. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. And it is a long-ass essay. Don't worry. I took all the information it covers and crammed it into a very fun 4.5-minute long song. You're welcome. I would still recommend reading the essay though. It is very thorough and very insightful. I'll leave the link in the dialogue box below or somewhere where you can find it. I don't know what platform you'll see this on. And in case you were wondering, it's not an essay for the left or for the right. It's actually very pertinent information for all of us to consider. The author actually talks about this in the essay and says that there's actually more like 4 political sides. North, South, East, and West. I'm more of a northerner. Actually, most of us are, I think. But apparently the Southerners are trying to convince us all that we're either a bunch of Easties or a bunch of Westies. You'll totally understand that if you read the essay. After I wrote this month's song, The Ultimate Invasion, inspired by the aforementioned essay, I went and did a recording of it as quickly as I possibly could because I wanted to get it copyrighted and I wanted to be able to get it produced and get it out there as soon as possible because I was like, I gotta get this out into the world because all of the subject matter in the song isn't even gonna matter in like 5 to 10 years because humanity is gonna be evolved so much that all the stuff that I'm talking about just won't even be an issue anymore. I was so naive. The essay is a conversation about, and I quote, corporate power grabs and the takeover of the global political system, economy, and culture. And that might all sound like some blah, 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 blah essay stuff. But when the essay starts talking about how pathological values have hijacked our ability to imagine true change, and how our minds have been colonized. Our minds have been colonized to normalize deeply pathological assumptions. I was like, amen. In other words, the reality construct that we live in gives us a mental disease. The reality construct that we live in is a mental disease.
Oh no.
And our very imaginations have been so violated that we don't even, some of us, see that at all.
Come with me and you'll be in a world of your imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination.
Red alert, red alert, imagination violation,
And I would postulate that a big part of that disease and how come why we don't even notice it is because one of the symptoms of that disease is to be constantly distracted by everything out there, so we don't even notice the disease at all. Like the author of this essay references, it's like when the body doesn't even recognize cancer as an alien force to be combated and removed from the body because it doesn't see it as a problem.
Pay no attention to the man behind that curtain. Here, you buy these shoes instead.
And in the essay, the author also references the revolutionary imagination, but I'm concerned with the overall imagination of humanity. And it has been completely hijacked, such that the humans have become very disempowered.
Yes, your imagination is your power.
In my mind, our imaginations are one of the greatest tools we have for navigating ourselves and for navigating this reality. Using our imaginations is a way for us to know what's good for us and what's bad for us. Our imaginations directly affect our decision-making process, which directly affects the realities that we create. Just think about it. If you want to go to a party, you're trying to decide whether or not to go. You imagine what it'll be like to go. And you imagine going and it feels so good, it feels so fun, and then you imagine not going and you feel so sad and lonely.
Aww.
It was your imagination that led you to your intuitive understanding of how you felt about it. You had to imagine going to see how you felt about going.
To the party.
Just imagine eating a delicious hot fudge sundae. The vanilla ice cream is cool and creamy, your favorite flavor of vanilla, and it's mixed in with warm, melty, chocolatey fudge drizzled in. Now, imagine that same hot fudge sundae actually had warm poop on it instead of fudge. See? Your imagination told you that eating poop is not good for you. Okay, maybe you already know that eating poop is not good for you. But what about the things that you don't know? For example, how to defy physics, or what shirt you should wear tomorrow. Or which way to turn when the light turns green, because there's different routes you can take to get home. Just use your imagination. I do that one all the time. Should I turn left or should I turn right? And inevitably, one of them feels better than the other. It just feels better, you can just tell. And then every once in a while, both options feel like exactly the same. And the universe is like, seriously? Oh my God, just drive. We can feel what is good and what is bad by using our imaginations. Yeah, I feel like I'm doing a children's program today. But this is important stuff, guys. We can use our imagination to reach into the realms of the intangible. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like fiber optic cables that reach into our feelingness and opens up insights and allows us to make intuitive decisions. We reach the tentacles of our imaginations out into the realms of possibilities, of what could be, of what might be, of what we'd like to create, of where we'd like to go. And we then find answers there.
Answers are good, okay?
But what if that same set imagination got hijacked?
Oh no.
What if that process of us as individual beings reaching out our imaginations into the endless realm of possibilities had that imaginational process interfered with such that we were coerced or redirected into some other direction that we never intended to go?
Oh my.
Far away from where we would have traveled had we been left to explore our imaginations unhindered by that outside force? What if every time we reached out our imaginational tentacles and asked, how can I make the world a better place? There was some other force that interfered and said,
You can't. Oh, here, you buy these shoes instead.
What if every time we reached out our imaginary tentacles to try and feel how we could become healthier, happier, take better care of ourselves and our bodies so that we could just feel better and live better? And some force intercepted and told us, that's too much work. Just eat this ice cream fudge sundae instead. What if every damn time we started to imagine what it might look like to create a whole new world? Like in Aladdin, a whole new world. Not like a new world order kind of whole new world. What if every time we did that, some force interjected and said, the world is nothing you could do about it. Just at least get a nice house so you can have a nice place to live while you're here.
Only 90% interest on this 150-year loan.
What if that was actually happening? What if you were actually getting violated, manipulated, coerced, bullied inside of your very own mind, inside of your imagination?
Well, I imagine that would probably piss you off.
Pisses me off. It does. Pisses me off. How can we ever know what feels good and what feels right for us when we're constantly being bombarded with symbols and imagery and colors and sounds that are deliberately planted there to tell us what we should think and what we should feel and what we should do with our time and what we should want and what we should need? In this system, in this mental disease system, even colors are used against you.
Oh my.
And if you don't take charge of your own imagination and take enough time to figure out whether or not you're actually in a hurry or whether or not you actually want to get supersized, this mental disease system is gonna keep making those decisions for you. How can you ever possibly know who you are and what you feel if you never get the opportunity to imagine those possibilities because they're already being imagined for you?
You are a cool dude. That is why you want to drive this sexy new car. You are a healthy person. That's why you want to eat this cereal.
You want to be beautiful, don't you? Well, that's why you need this line of makeup.
You are only going to fit in if you have these. You're not complete without that.
You will not feel good without this. No one will like you if you don't have these.
Experts say this is what's good for you.
You have to go this place. You simply can't go out into the world if you don't have some of this.
That was all just my own little spiel on the imagination and how it is totally being hijacked and violated by the mental disease system in which we live. Patrick Rainsborough, the author of the essay which inspired this month's song, The Ultimate Invasion, didn't go into all of the detail I just did, but he does touch on the topic of the imagination, and I think the imagination is a very important topic to go into. So, I just did. You're welcome. I really do encourage you to read the essay. It's rather brilliant and very thorough. It doesn't matter that he wrote that shit almost 20 years ago because it talks about the shit that's been going on in this matrix,
in this mental disease system,
for a very, very long time. And in fact, some of the stuff that he touches on has become even more true and more obvious as time has gone on. If you do read the essay, you'll notice that I borrow a lot of his language when I wrote the lyrics of this month's song, The Ultimate Invasion. Now, I don't necessarily agree with everything that he said in the essay, but who knows? He wrote it like 20 years ago. maybe he's changed his mind about some stuff. For example, in this essay, he pretty much blames rich white dudes for maintaining this system. And I'm like, maybe if you replace rich white dudes with shape-shifting reptilians, we might agree there. I was singing this month's song, The Ultimate Invasion, at a cafe gig not too long after I'd written it, somewhere in the early 2000s. And in the lyric of this song, I say something about needing to have the biggest frickin' diamond ring. And after the show, my sister-in-law, who had just gotten a really big fancy engagement ring from my brother, came up to me and said, "Oh, I really like my engagement ring." I laughed and I said, "There's nothing wrong with liking diamond rings. There's nothing wrong with liking nice things. There's nothing wrong with wanting nice things. And there's nothing wrong with eating ice cream. And there's nothing wrong with buying new shoes." I love getting me some new shoes. I just wonder, what do you wonder, Wonder Cat? I just wonder how we could do all that stuff in a conscious way, so that we're not just doing it because some other force told us that we should do it, or we better do it, if we want to feel good about ourselves, and if we want to fit in, and if we want to feel confident, and if we want to be accepted by society. In the essay, the author mentions doing things like being a tree hugger and organizing protests as means by which to change the world. And that's all good stuff. That's all super groovy. But I'm convinced that the solution isn't in any one political approach or in one specific system per se. I'm convinced that the solution is you. How's that, you say? I don't know. Use your imagination. Figure it out. I asked my imagination what I could do to make the world a better place. And my imagination was like, you could write songs. And I was like, okay. So here you go. Please enjoy the raw review of The Ultimate Invasion.
So we're caught up in a strange dream of always needing something. Big truck, big screen, biggest frickin' diamond ring. You're not who you are. You're what you bought. Oh, it's the ultimate invasion now. Raping.
If you get warm and fuzzy enjoying the work that I do here on Me and My Song, please go ahead and do all the things that help independent artists like myself get our work out there. You know, like liking and subscribing, spreading the word, spreading the love, thumbs upping. But whatever you do, the most important thing in the whole wide world that I think you should do, no matter if it's out of style, out of range, or out of tune, you have got to, even when it's really, really hard to do, keep singing your song.
Me and my song.